Most conflicts at the workplace do not start with rebellion. It starts with confusion.
Approximately 280 Bangladeshi migrant workers in Malaysia are claiming over $694,000 in unpaid wages.
Between January and October, Malaysian authorities issued 4 to 5 million ringgit in fines for labour offences, with 1,654 investigations opened involving forced labour.
But all of it is avoidable when you understand the rules and there is clarity. In this masterclass, I'll share with you how to understand Malaysia's Employment Act and its Sabah and Sarawak counterparts, manage disciplinary issues legally and ethically, eliminate labour disputes before they escalate. We will dissect real case studies from wrongful dismissal to wage disputes, from disciplinary hearings to forced resignations. Sometimes people tell me this kind of class is useless. You can Google it or ask around. But ask yourself this: do you want to be firefighting when the damage is already done? Or do you want to live with peace of mind solving issues before they ever reach your desk? Because no matter what your life looks like now, it can be better. Hi, I'm Arul and this is my masterclass.
Yeah, thanks a lot to the Penang show, the huge energy, like the crowd was like super active, super energetic, packed crowd, super interesting speakers. I mean, thanks a lot for this great day, hope you enjoyed it.
only person that can resolve this is you. I'm not saying how you can resolve it. I'm just saying this is the problem.
But the one thing I'm not scared of is it being a scary monster that will come after my job. It's about using it as a tool to be better, do more, but it's really just that. It's a tool.
Because people said, hey, I don't want to sell time, I want to sell output. There's a difference, because today you say I'm selling time. Now the equation changed because I say I think I'm more productive, I should sell output. And so what happened is many people, we started the freelancers. I will sell output because I'm productive, I can sell output.
So traditionally, we know about white collar, blue collar. So what Jeannie was referring to was neo collar. They don't have degrees. They don't go for a 4-year degree program, but they do have skills certification. They go for micro credential and they go for hybrid. So unless you change your HR playbook, your competitor is going to get this talent.
All the best for 2026. It's going to be an exciting year. Have a great one. And again, from us, thank you very much.
Ready? So good evening, everyone. My name is Arul, and I'll be your presenter for today. So if you are able to hear me and see me, give us a yes or a thumbs up, so we know everything is okay before we move on. All good? Okay, good. Now, so today is our next round of webinar, and today's topic is going to be on managing retrenchment process. So how do you carry out retrenchment exercises? I'll be covering on the, from the do's and don'ts, best practices, the calculation method, what to do, during retrenchment, after retrenchment, Borang PK, a bit of case studies, and a few other things. So this is going to happen in the next 1.5 hours or so. And if you have any questions to ask, we will do the Q&A at the later part of the session. So what you need to do is, if you have any questions, don't ask first, right? Don't ask first. Listen, take notes, connect the dots. And if you still cannot understand, then please ask. Because sometimes we are so quick to ask questions without even listening to the full story, right? So please listen, focus, put your phone away, listen, focus, take notes, and try to connect the dots. If cannot, then if you still cannot understand, still confused and whatnot, etc., or maybe I did not address the question that you may have in mind, then please ask later, right? You can chat in the you can type it out in the comment section. Okay, so I'll take roughly about 1 hour 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour 45 minutes at the max. If there's more questions, we can drag it a little bit longer. So that's what is going to happen today. So my name is Arul. I think many of you all do know me. I always repeat this lah. I used to work as HR before this, but of course after some time you get a little bit tired. You want to do more. You want something that is more challenging, more motivating. So today we do training, consulting, advisory, and many other things. So if you want to reach me, you can see my contact details at the bottom. Today's slides will be shared with you in Facebook, right? After this training is over, we'll share these slides in Facebook, and you can download it from Facebook. It should be up by 6 o'clock, right? So the slides, you can download it from Facebook. Now, I would like to encourage all of you all. I'm sure if you're watching us today, you are in Facebook watching us live, probably in YouTube as well. but I would encourage all of you all to get your team members to join the forum, right? To join the forum. So as of at least until now, all our webinars are free. Next year we do not know yet because we're going to create memberships next year. So next year, the story might be a bit different, but for now it's still free. So join the forum because there's tons of discussions, webinars, seminars, guidelines, templates, policies. Many of these are shared in Facebook group. So get your team members to join us in Facebook group. Get them to follow, get them to listen, get them to read, download the document, ask them to improvise your policies and whatnot. I always, remind companies this: never send your fresh graduate to a training. You spend 2,000, 3,000 ringgit public classes or public training, but they are, they may not know, right? It's always good to know the basics, then go for training, right? And I can tell you, the Malaysia HR Forum Facebook group is probably one of the best platform in Malaysia. I don't think you can ever find any other platforms in Malaysia, to the extent that HR Forum has, right? There are 85,000 members there as of today, 86,000 as of today, and tons of discussion, right? Webinars, seminars, templates, and whatnot. So it'll be very, very useful for your team members. So get your team members to join us, get your bosses to join in as well. Right now it's free, so join and make the best use of what we have in the Facebook group. And a couple of things I wanted to share with you. So next month on September 22nd, 23rd, we are having our Malaysia HR Tech Conference, which is going to happen in Nexus Bangsa, Nexus Convention Center Bangsa. It's going to be a 2 days conference. Some of you all may have been there last year. So please come again this year. Lots of speakers, lots of foreign, international speakers, local speakers. We have got over, I think 70, 80 exhibitors, sponsors, showcasing, various tools out there. So it's free, but we also have a paid ticket. You can come in as a free delegate, a public delegate, or we are now creating, you'll see in the next few days, we'll publish it as well. For those of you all, if you're traveling from another town and you want to claim HRDF, we have also registered this. You can also claim HRDF. The price is much higher, of course. You also get, for those who are paying, they will get SHRM membership worth 400 plus ringgit. You get meals, complete meals for the 2 days, grand lucky draw, and a few other things, right? That's for paid delegates. But otherwise, if you do not want to pay, you want to come in as free, you can still come. You can still enjoy the conference for the entire 2 days. Morning breaks given, afternoon breaks given, etc. But 1 or 2 things you may not get if you're not paying, right? So I hope to see all of you all at the conference. And there's going to be, it's exciting. Every year this conference is fun, exciting. So please come. I hope to see all of you all there. And another thing that I would like to share with you, it's also our sister company. It's a college, and they do offer diplomas for working adults, right? So it's fully online. You don't have to attend classes physically. So if you want to help your employees, some of those in your shop floor, or maybe your clerk who don't have a diploma, or if your colleague don't have a diploma, so it is fully online. It's quite affordable. If you're paying upfront, it's 7,999, MQA approved, right? It's approved by the Ministry of Education, Higher Education, by MQA. It's fully online, no exams, but you have assignments and whatnot. So if you want, if you have any colleagues that do not have a diploma, help them to get one, introduce this to them. You may also want to share this with your employees. So we have a few other diplomas as well that is being launched. We have diploma in early childhood that is being launched very soon, diploma in law enforcement, diploma in public admin, and diploma in manufacturing operations. That's coming soon as well, right? So make the best use of it. It's affordable. If you're paying installment, of course, it's 399 per month. That will go on for 25 months, right? So these slides will be shared with you. Please share this with your colleagues, and make the best use of all these opportunities out there. Okay, so let me go into this presentation for today. So as always, my usual routine slide that I always have in all the webinars and seminars and trainings. So what it says here, compliance is expensive or compliance is cheap. Sometimes we feel if we follow the law, it's going to be very expensive. Unfortunately, or shall I say, it is wrong, sad to say, when we follow the law, it is not so expensive compared not to follow. When we follow the law, it is cheaper, faster, safer. But when we don't follow the law, let's say the law catches up with us, we try not to do this, and the authorities catches up with us, and there'll be a penalty. You still got to pay what you're supposed to pay. Time is taken, drag you to court, embarrassment, extra work, right? So it is much more expensive when we don't follow. So if you think compliance is expensive, you may want to try non-compliance, and then you had it, right? So always comply, always follow. For example, when we do calculation of annual leave, calculation of benefits, calculation of wages, calculation of termination benefit, for example, right? If the law says that performance bonus is wages, must be in the ORP calculation, then we got to put it in, right? There's two types of bonus. Performance bonus is wages. Contractual bonus is not wages, right? We can't just say bonus means it's not wages. Performance bonus, where different people get different sum based on their performance, right? You get an A, you get 1 month, B, you get half month. That is wages, which has got to be in the ORP, right? Which you got to include in termination benefit calculation. So comply. But if you're giving a contractual bonus, everybody gets 1 month, right? Whether you're A performer, B, everybody gets 1 month. That is not wages. You don't include into ORP. So, right, these are the things that we have to take note of. So, meal allowance, we got to include ORP. So, follow the law, right? The formulas. So, it is cheaper to follow than not to follow. Now, before I go into the termination, slides, retrenchment or termination benefit slides, retrenchment slides, I would like to just share with you, I know I've repeated this couple of times, but because today, one of the regulation that affects retrenchment also comes from the regulations. So as you know, I've presented this couple of times, so I will not want to repeat in detail. There's 3 ways how our employment laws, regulation come into existence. Number 1 is Act of Parliament. When Parliament approves the law, right? Employment Act, Trade Unions Act, Minimum Retirement Age Act, right? ACTA goes to Parliament, Parliament debates, Dewan Rakyat, Dewan Negara, then goes to the King, and then enforcement is gazetted enforcement, etc. So those are, Act of Parliament, which is easy, right? Then you have got regulations, where the Employment Act provides room for the minister to create regulations. So one of the regulations that we'll be discussing today is the regulations on termination and layoff benefits, right? You can see item number 2 under the green circle. Employment in bracket termination layoff regulation, termination layoff benefits regulations 1980, right? What is the formula? How should we calculate? What are the components? How many days should we pay, right? All these are provided for in the employment in bracket termination and layoff benefits, close bracket, regulations 1980. It comes from there. So I would encourage all of y'all, right, to please, if you're in Peninsular Malaysia, please purchase a copy of this. You can buy this in Popular. You can buy it online as well. So you can find a copy of the copy of the regulations, right? The termination and layoff regulations 1980. You can find it in this book, right? Also covers Employment Act and many other regulations. So please get one. For Sarawak, you need to get the Sarawak rules. You can purchase it from, I think your Labour Department probably sell it. Sabah, you may want to download it or get it from your Labour Department, right? So whether you're in Peninsular Malaysia, whether in Sabah or Sarawak, please get a copy of the, EA for Malaysia, for Peninsula. Sabah will be Sabah Labour Ordinance, Sarawak will be Sarawak Labour Ordinance, and the rules for Sarawak on termination layoff, and the rules for Sabah on termination layoff, right? You got to have it. The good part is these regulations almost similar to Malaysia. So today's presentation, you can say it also covers Peninsula, Sabah, and Sarawak. So please get the book. Of course, those who are coming for master classes, this book is given to you, or those in Sabah and Sarawak. Now, so this is the employment in bracket termination and layoff benefits regulations 1980. So a copy, you can also download a copy from our Facebook group. So later part, when you get this slide, you click the link, you can download a copy. Sarawak is called, Sarawak, they don't call it regulation, they call it rules. So for Sabah and Sarawak, you can also download a copy, your employment termination layoff benefits for Sabah and Sarawak, the rules. You can, I don't think we have it in Facebook, but it's almost identical to Peninsular Malaysia. But it's good to have a copy if you're operating in Sabah or Sarawak, get one copy for your state. And the other document that I will also be, I've also taken quite a number of points is the Code of Conduct for Industrial Harmony. Now, this is not a legal document. It is just a code. You can call it like an MOU between Ministry of Labor or Ministry of Human Resources back in 1975 and the Employees Federation back in 1975. An agreement was signed on how company and union and employees, how to work in a harmonious way, right? So this document is quite important. It is not really a law per se. It's quite important because why? Under Industrial Relations Act, Section 30, the Act allows the industrial court, right, to pick anything from any codes or agreement which is approved by the minister. So this is one of them. For example, last in, first out. Where does it come from? When we want to retrench an employee, we should get the last in to leave first, right? That means whoever came in early, you go first. Whoever came in recently, you go first. Older employees go later. Last in, first out, right? Where does this come from? It comes from this code. So industrial court, high court, court of appeal or federal court, when they make a judgment or ruling, they have taken all this and expect companies to follow. So now when the court expect you to follow, right, it becomes mandatory. So last in, first out comes from this code. And where can we learn about retrenchment guideline? What do we do before we retrench? Reduce benefits, reduce working hours, reduce working days, try to delay your retrenchment, try to stagger it, see whether you can retrain the employee, see whether they can be retrained and redeployed, right? All this also comes from the Code of Conduct and another document, which is the retrenchment guideline by the Labor Department. I'm so sorry I didn't show it today, but a copy can be downloaded from the Labor Department's website, or a copy is also available in our Facebook group, right? You can also go and search and download retrenchment guideline. You just browse and you find those, right? So all these documents are available in our Facebook group as well. So please download a copy of the termination layoff benefits regulations. Please download a copy of Code of Conduct for Industrial Harmony. Please also download the retrenchment guideline produced by the Labor Department. So it gives you all the guidelines, how to go about it, and so on, right? All these are must-have documents for anybody. If you are planning to do retrenchment, it's good to read all this, so at least you know what to do and so on. Now, when we talk about why do companies retrench, there's two reasons. One, the company retrench when they are closing down, right? Recently, we heard Panasonic is closing down. So when a company closes down, they are no longer going to operate, or probably they're going to move to another country. So they close down, wind up the company, wind up the business, and everybody goes, right? So that's one, when a business is moving out, closing down. The other is when the business wants to reorganize itself. We don't need 300 employees, we only need 200. Business is bad, we have lost some clients, or the world economy is not in a good condition. I want to reduce employees, we don't need 200, we probably want to reduce to 130. So what do we do with the excess headcount? So you will identify who that you want to let go, right? You want to retrench some, maybe a department, you outsource, let's say the sales department, you outsource, right? So you don't need this employee, they become redundant, so you retrench them. Or sometimes you don't have anybody in mind, or department is not closing, but you just want to reduce, therefore you may offer VSS, voluntary scheme. So people can apply, and if the company approves it, they take the money, they go, right? Or sometimes you may also have MSS when there are certain individuals that for some reason you do not want them anymore, maybe there's no room for them. You can also discuss with them on a mutual package, right? Mutual separation. So these are some of the strategies that you can apply to reduce your workforce, right? So the seminar today talks about what are the strategies you can do, what is the retrenchment process. We'll go a little bit into VSS, MSS, compliance processes, calculation, how do you offboard them, some best practices, case studies, right? And lastly, we'll do Q&A. So, before we retrench, there are many areas or many ideas or many options how we could reduce our workforce, right? I will not go through in detail because it's too many, but the texts are there in the subsequent pages, you can read it. For example, sometimes, you don't even need to retrench, because if your attrition I'm not saying high is not good, but if you do have trends of every month there are a couple of people who leaves, etc. Sometimes you can use attrition. That means when people resign, that it's one way to reduce your workforce. So attrition could be a strategy, right? You cannot chase them out, But when they leave, don't hire, right? For example, today you may have 20 excess headcount. So what you can do, when somebody leaves, don't hire. See whether you can train somebody up in another department to take up this job, right? So that way you don't need to fire anybody, you don't need to hire a replacement. So for example, if somebody in sales have left and you got someone in another department, he can be trained to do sales, right? So you can train him and deploy him here. So this is one way how you could look at using attrition as a way. You can also reduce, before you retrench, you can reduce work hours, right? Convert them into part-time, right? I don't need 100 employees, I just need 80. So what do I do with the 20? Probably you convert them into part-time, right? That's one way. Of course, you can't force them, but you can do so. Or reduce work hours. So when you reduce work hours, you're also reducing your labor costs. But again, these are items that you need to get employees to agree. Sometimes you can also reduce workforce by outsourcing your processes, right? Some companies, what they've done, they've outsourced certain process and they don't need this headcount anymore. They get the outsourced company to offer them a job. In one case I've seen, the outsourced company offers them a job, same pay, right? That's one way to do. And freeze hiring when you're not able to withstand the business not doing well and you're not able to cope with the rising costs. Clients are not easy to get clients, revenue is dropping, so don't hire, right? Freeze hiring, train up your current people and redeploy them. So these are many. Another one is early retirement. If workforce is too heavy, you want to reduce, you've got a couple of employees who are approaching retirement, you could talk to them on early retirement. But of course, they'll ask you for some money. I can go today, but you pay me something, right? For example, if an employee has got 1 more year to his service, if he continue working, he gets 12 months pay. You can also negotiate with him. Would you be open to a package where I give you 6 months pay, right? He got 12 months to go. You may say, are you okay with 6 months? You say, okay, it's better I take these 6 months and I leave. So that's another option to do. Or you can also convert them into part-time. Tell them that, business not doing well. We like to still keep you, but are you open to, moving to a part-time role? You work only half day every day. That means instead of coming Mondays to Fridays, 9 to 6, you come Mondays, 9 to 1. For the 5 days, we reduce the salary from, let's say, 5,000 to 3,000. Are you open to it? Some of them would say, okay. So these are ways you can do to reduce workforce. Why? Simply because you want to reduce your operating costs, right? So these are some of the strategies. So of course, in these slides, please read it. I've given some description. What is attrition? What is hiring freeze? So please take your time to read it. I will not go through it because it takes some time to explain all of this, right? So these are something you can read. But let me move on. Let me move on to retrenchment. So what exactly is retrenchment? So when we say retrench, that means we are going to terminate their employment. So no more work, right? You terminate because you have excess or headcount. Either company closing down, or you want to reduce your workforce. You want to merge, two companies when they merge, right? Company A, company B merge. Then they realize, okay, we have too many people. We don't need, in one department, we don't need 30, right? We just need 12. So what do we do? The 18, right? Now you may need to retrench them. How do you pick who to retrench? That's discussion for the next chapters, right? So these are, retrenchment happens and it's very common. I'm sure you all have been reading the news in the last, 5-6 months. We had almost, some 40,000 employees retrenched in Malaysia, right? It happens. So you as HR, one day this may affect your company as well. So what do you do, right? What do you do from the early steps, right? How do you advise your company? How can we avoid all this altogether if we can? So these are the kind of things that we need to know and what to do. So we are advisors to our bosses, right? We are HR experts. We got to know all this so that we can advise the bosses. So this is taken from the guideline on retrenchment management produced by Labour Department. And so when we talk about redundancy and retrenchment, so what are the earlier activities we got to do? Now, when you read case awards, there's those from industrial court, high court, etc., the court always tells us this: always take a slower approach when we want to terminate an employee. Whether it's retrenchment, whether it's performance, whether it's medical, right? Take a slower approach. Don't rush, right? Even like if somebody's not performing, give him time. Of course, the court is not telling us give them 3 years. right? Give them a reasonable time. What is reasonable, you decide. So similarly, when it comes to retrenchment, right? Before, if you know that you need to reduce employees, what are the pre-steps? What are the early steps that companies could take? Freeze your recruitment, right? Limit overtime work if there is any possibility. Maybe some areas you can't, but some areas you can. Restrict work on rest day, right? The rest day work, overtime work, reduce number of shifts, reduce number of work hours. Maybe you can retrain employee and redeploy them, right? So these are, what companies could do before we retrench. So remember, later I'll show you one of the cases that says that companies should explore all other options first before you retrench, right? So I've done work hour reduction, I've limited or freeze recruitment, I've reduced the, no more work on weekends or Sundays, I've reduced the work hours, I've done retraining, I've seen whether people can be redeployed, I've done all of this. I've also tried pay cut, I've done all of this. The company is still losing money, we're still bleeding, right? Now you are ready, or the situation is, more than needed to retrench. So you cannot just say, okay, business not doing it, let's retrench, right? Try not to do that. Because in one of the cases, the court says that retrenchment should not be used for cost avoidance, right? You want to avoid costs, you retrench, right? So don't do that. So before we retrench, work out all these steps if possible. Maybe some are not relevant or some are not possible, fine. But whatever is possible, work it out first. So all this comes from the Code of Conduct for Industrial Harmony. It also comes from the guideline on retrenchment by the Labour Department, right? And so the Code of Conduct says this, end of the day, the business has got to decide. The law says that, let's say I'm the law says that if you want to reorganize your business, that's your right. Please go ahead, do it. But please be fair, right? Talk to your employees, please be fair to them, right? If you have a trade union, talk to them, right? Responsibility is yours, right? You have the right to reorganize the business. You want to downsize, upsize, resize, it's all up to you. But please be fair to your employees. And again, from the Code of Conduct for Industrial Harmony and the Guideline on Retrenchment by the Labour Department, what do they say? When retrenchment becomes necessary, cannot be avoided, right? You've tried whatever measures cannot. Now you have to retrench. So what are the things that you can do? Give as early a warning, right? Tell your employees as early as you can. We're not saying that tell them 1 year ahead, right? What is practical? What is reasonable? What is practical? If 3 months, so be it. 6 months, so be it. I remember Panasonic, when they want to retrench, I think I saw the news 1 year ahead of time. They've made a public announcement. They are slowly closing down, and it's going to take, it's going to happen, on a few phases, right? So give as early a warning as practically possible. Talk to your employees, talk to your union, right? Maybe you don't want to retrench first. You want to carry out a voluntary exercise to reduce your headcount. So these are the things that you got to do, right? And I just want to let you know this. When we want to retrench an employee, what is the notice period? I didn't cover this in the slide, so I better cover this now. Your contract may say notice period is 1 month. But when the business wants to retrench an employee, you cannot follow 1 month that is on your contract. You got to give minimum 4, minimum 6, minimum 8 as what is provided in the Employment Act, right? So minimum 4, minimum 6, minimum 8. So, but if your contract is, duration is much more, let's say your contract says 3 month notice, then follow 3 months, right? So retrenchment notice period cannot be less than 4 weeks for those less than 2 years, cannot be less than 6 weeks for those 2 to 5 years of service, and cannot be less than 8 weeks for those more than 5 years, right? So some contracts, your notice period is much shorter. So for retrenchment, you got to follow this or more if your contract provides more, right? So these are things that you can do. And of course, if you can, talk to the ministry, talk to Perkeso, see what can be done, and spread over your termination over a period of time. So these are, again, suggestions. It is not a must, but it's suggestions, right? Comes from the guideline for retrenchment and the Code of Conduct. And so when we want to retrench an employee, how do we decide who to go? Can we cherry pick? Cherry pick means we just pick who. Okay, that guy got problematic guy. Let's retrench him. that guy, I don't like him, let's retrench him. Can you pick employees like this? This is called cherry picking. You pick whichever cherries that you want. You can't, right? It must be done in a manner that is fair, transparent. So, for example, can we use performance as a criteria? Answer is no. Can we use behavior as a criteria? Answer is no again. So, if an employee is problematic, the employee has performance issues, he should not be here today, right? So, you should not use that. If you use that, you're asking for trouble, right? I'll share with you what has happened in one of the case where, one of the airline use performance, salary, and all this, which the court eventually says, shouldn't, right? So when we want to retrench an employee, the advice would always be this: focus on skills, competencies, qualification, and a few other things, but be careful with the others, right? So these are how we could use the criteria that we can use to select an employee. Of course, in the Code of Conduct for Industrial Harmony says that those last in will have to go first in the same job capacity. In Employment Act, similar in Sarawak Labour Ordinance, Sabah Labour Ordinance, for Peninsula Section 60N, it says that if you have got foreign workers in the same job capacity, the foreign workers go out first, right? So this is what, the law says. So Section 60N says that the foreign workers go out first for Peninsula. Sabah, Sarawak, you'll also see this. I can't recall which section is that. So when you employ foreigners in the same job capacity, so for example, in the operator category, in the production shop floor operators, you got foreign operators, you got local operators, same job capacity. So in this scenario, the foreigners go first, not the locals. But if you do not want to follow, or for some reason you need to, retain the foreigner, but you may need to retrench local. So if you want to, if you're not going to follow this, you must be able to explain to the court why you could not follow, right? Similarly, last in, first out. The last in employee, the one who came in recently, or in the last 1-2 years, go first. The one who came in 5 years ago, they are not last in. Sorry, they came in earlier, so they go later. So the last in go out first. So not first in, first out, not FIFO. The older employees who came in first, they go first. No, the last in, they go out first. Again, you can see the word in the same job category. So let me give you an example. Let's say I've got 2 technicians, right? I've got a guy who has been working for the last 25 years, and I've got another guy who is working for the last 5 years. So one employee is 25 years, one employee is 5 years. The employee with 25 years, he do not have SPM. Sorry, he do not have a diploma. SPM, liver, and he just worked with the company for so many years, and he start to become good in repairing certain machines. Now the younger employee that joined 5 years ago, he's got a diploma in engineering, and he can read engineering drawing. He can read the schematic drawing. The company used to have a lot of old machines which we have been selling it off, removing it, selling it one, but now we have only very few machines left, and this older employee can only repair these old equipments. But now technology has caught up. The new machines are much more changgih. We are buying more and more new machines. The older employees is not able to operate a new machine because it's highly computerized, for example. But the younger technician, because he's a diploma holder, he's able to read, he's able to troubleshoot, is much more high in. He can, he's able to operate the system, whereas the older employee cannot. So I'm going to remove the older employee first. I'm going to retrench the older employee first and keep the younger employee simply because capability, skills, competencies, right? So chances are this is acceptable. So if you're not able to follow foreign workers first out or last in, first out principle, then you must be able to justify why you did not follow. Because the other employer is going to say, I came in earlier. Why am I being asked to go? Why not the younger one? Now, if they file a case, and the court will ask you why. So you must be able to justify why you could not follow the last in, first out principle, or why you retain the foreign employees and not the local employees, right? So these are things that you got to take note of, something that company always have challenge with. The bosses always say that, no, I want to choose who I want. You can't do that. You cannot cherry pick, right? The case awards says that you cannot cherry pick. So using performance and behavior is something that I will never encourage you to do, because this is something very tricky to explain. We may tell the court the employee is not a performer. The court can, the other party will ask you, so if he's not a performer, why is he here today? Right? So never use, right? If you can write this down, do not use the retrenchment exercise to clean up your house. Okay, I've got a lot of bad employees here and there, etc. I'm going to use this exercise, the retrenchment exercise. I want to clean up the house. I want to do housekeeping by using retrenchment. You will be asking for trouble. And as I said just now, this was the case of Air Asia, right? It's all in the news, so you can read that as well. So it happened during COVID, where the company says that business not doing well. It happens in COVID, right? And so in this case, the company used the formula called best fit. So they designed a best fit formula where what was in this formula, or what was added in this formula. They looked at performance, they looked at disciplinary record, salary, etc. So again, in this case, the court says can, right? But in another court, this is industrial court, in a similar scenario, that court says cannot. Employee won 511,000, and then there's another employee. He appeal, went to the highest court that is possible right now, which is Court of Appeal. And this was quite recent, 2 years ago. The box in yellow, the Court of Appeal says that the retrenchment must be genuine, number one, and you must the use of best fit is not the right approach, right? And if you do not want to use last in first out, you must be able to explain, right, why you didn't use last in first out. You must be able to justify, explain, terangkan kenapa tak ikut last in first out, right? The court says this, and now this is Court of Appeal. So when Court of Appeal says it's the highest court, so again I would like to go back to the previous statement that I made. When we terminate an employee on retrenchment, right, when we retrench an employee, it's best to stick to skills, competencies, qualification, because these are items easy to explain, right? So do not put in performances, do not put in disciplinary record, because if they are not performing, or if they have got disciplinary issues, you should have removed them some time ago, not today, right? If that employee is having disciplinary issues or performance issues, and you have kept them till today, in other words, what you're trying to tell the whole world, I'm okay with their behavior, I'm okay with their disciplinary issues or performance issues, I'm okay with it. That's why they're here today. So if you're okay with it, why you pick them today? So hence, do not, or shall I say this, avoid using performances or disciplinary records, right? The best is avoid it, because you will not be able to explain it at a later stage. And salary, right? The law, you never find anywhere says that terminate the highest salary first and keep the cheaper salary, right? Employee earning lower, we keep. Again, no, right? So if the highest salary do not have the right competencies, use competency as a gauge, right? Not performance, not salary, not disciplinary record, right? So this is one, situation of best fit. Now, coming back to VSS, MSS, and retrenchment. So some people ask me, why do you call it mandatory retrenchment? There's a reason why I called it mandatory. Now, let me start with the retrenchment first. When the company wants to retrench an employee, business closing down, do I need to ask you permission? Okay, employees, business not doing well, I want to retrench you. You don't need to ask their permission. You inform them, yes, see what else can be done, that's fine. But at the end of the day, if you need to retrench, you retrench. You don't need to ask them, right? If, let's say, for example, the whole company is closing, I don't need to ask you, guys, are you okay if I retrench you? I don't need to ask you, right? And if I were to retrench you, do you have a case against me? You have no case. Company closed, right? So you have no case. That's why I said, in mandatory retrenchment, I don't need to, basically you got to go lah, right? You got to go. But in VSS, for example, we don't need to remove everybody because the company is still running, and I cannot, I do not want to pick anyone, so I offer VSS. Ladies and gentlemen, the company is not doing well. We want to do some reduction. You've heard that, we have lost a client in China, we have lost a client in America, or in Malaysia. We are not able to, continue operating the way we are. Cost is high, revenue has dropped, profit has dropped. The company is looking at reduction. So we are opening up to all employees a VSS package, a VSS program, voluntary separation scheme, and anyone can apply. But company will decide who to approve, who not to approve. So we are going to give 1 month per year of service, right? So whoever is interested, you can apply. So the company, if they're okay with you leaving, they will approve you, right? Go through a clearance process, sign the agreement, take the money and go, right? Can you file a case? You can't, because you voluntarily participated in this exercise. I didn't force you, right? It's safe. Whereas MSS, you don't do MSS on a large scale, right? MSS is always done for specific cases. Maybe there's an employee, very senior, you don't have a role for him, right? Or maybe, he may not fit into, he's a good employee, he has no performance issue, no behavior issue, but you don't need him anymore for some reason, right? You discuss with him on a mutual separation, scheme. So usually for mandatory retrenchment, the payout is quite less, right? If you follow the law, it is 10 days, 15 days, 20 days. And again, some people you don't need to pay. Those employees earning more than 4,000 ringgit, who are not a manual labor, who are not a supervisor, who don't operate, mechanically propelled vehicle. Like I always refer this to the red box, right? Those in the red box, you don't need to pay, right? But if you want to, reduce employees and you want some of those people in the red box to go, right? You got to ask, you got to pay them something. Otherwise, why should I go? Right? So VSS is much more expensive than retrenchment, because if you follow retrenchment, it's 10 days, 15 days, 20 days per year. But VSS costs more. MSS may cost even more. Could be the same with VSS, but it may cost more. So if you offer an employee VSS, you tell employee we're offering VSS, company can pay 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, it may not be very sweet. Some will take, but I doubt all will take, right? There'll be some who says that, tak banyak, not much. I don't want to take, I don't want to go, I'll stay, right? That's why you notice when it comes to VSS, quite a number of organizations, they offer 1 month per year. 1 month per year is sweet, because 1 month per year is more than the 10 days, the 15 days, the 20 days. So-called this statutory formula, right? So VSS always, if you're giving 1 month, it's sweeter than the 10, 15, 20. So chances of people accepting is higher. Just like all of you all. If I want to retrench you, and not retrench, we want to reduce employees, I would like you all to apply, but I'm going to tell you this, we cannot offer you anything. Surely you won't take, right? Okay, now second scenario, company can offer you 10 days per year of service if you're less than 2 years, 15 days. You'll say it's not much, not sweet enough. You also won't take, right? So if I don't offer you something sweet, you will not accept it, you're going to stay. But the companies, need to reduce headcount. So that is why MSS and VSS will cost more than the regular retrenchment exercise. Now remember this, what do you call this? Do you need to submit borang PK? So let me just go some of the important lines. So let me go to line number 4. Can company force an employee to accept retrenchment? In a retrenchment scenario, right, where you need to go, you don't need, employee actually go, no options, right? If the company is going to outsource the department, the whole department goes. If the company is going to close down, the whole all employee goes, right? So they don't have an option. But for VSS and MSS, the employee have an option to either accept or to negotiate and accept it. So if they say, no, I'm not interested, I don't apply for VSS, you can't do anything about it. You cannot force it onto them. If you force, that could be forced termination, right? And so if the employee refuses to accept, not interested to accept for VSS, MSS, they continue work as usual, right? They'll work. And for all of these scenarios, you must submit borang PK, right? I'll cover that a little bit later. Yes, for these scenarios, employee can apply for tax relief via LHDN. They can also qualify for per casus, job search allowance as well. So this is a quick overview of VSS, MSS, and retrenchment. The reason I split all this is to give you the difference between, these three in terms of termination benefit, what is the minimum, can you force an employee, borang PK and all those things. So, as I said just now, I always refer this to the green box and red box. So those employees in the green box, right, those below earning 4K, right, whether you're manual labor or non-manual labor, for example, HR clerk, right, if they are earning below 4K, they are all in the green box, you got to pay them termination benefit. But for those people earning above 4, if they are manual labor, you still got to pay. because the first schedule includes them in all these provisions. But those in the red box, right, you don't need to pay. Who are those in red box? HR, finance, sales, R&D, even quality, engineering, right, customer service, and all these people, right? If you're not doing a manual labor and you're earning above 4K, you fall in the red box. So those in the red box, they are, in other words, right, Section 60J for Peninsular Malaysia, and for Sabah Sarawak, I can't recall what is your section. So this group, right, they are excluded from the layoff and termination provision. In other words, those in the red box, you can retrench them without having to pay retrenchment benefit. But those in the green box, the regulation says you got to pay them. How much? Minimum 10 days, minimum 15 days, minimum 20 days based on their years, right? So those in the red box, you can choose not to pay the termination benefit. So I hope until now you're clear on what the law says, who's entitled, who's not entitled. Now, how do you calculate the payment of termination, of this wage termination benefits? So you need to, firstly, we got to go into the definition of wages. So in Section 2 of Employment Act, Sarawak Labour Ordinance, Sabah Labour Ordinance, right? What is wages? So wages means basic wages, which is basic salary, gaji pokok, and all other payments in cash. All, the keyword is all. So when you give allowances, except traveling allowance item C, that is not wages. So whatever that you pay employees, everything that you pay them, it's wages, except A, B, C, D, E, F. So if you're giving a house, not housing allowance, you give a house, you give physical meal, that means the meal, right? You say, go canteen, eat the food there, right? I'll pay for it, right? So you're not giving meal allowance is wages, but you're giving meals, right? So that is not wages. Traveling allowance not wages, but transport is wages, okay? Or if you're paying employees some money because they incurred some expenses to perform the job, that is not wages. EPI, gratuity, you give them gratuity, that is not, right? And bonus. Now, this bonus is a bit tricky. There's two types of bonus, or shall I say two ways of giving bonus. Everybody gets the same amount of bonus, that is not wages, right? That is under F, excluded. But if you're giving bonus based on individual performance, different employee get different bonus, that is not F, that is wages. So you want to include this, you want to exclude from wages, then you got to go to Labour Department and tell them that I want to consider this as approved incentive to exclude from wages. If you get the permission, you can exclude it. Otherwise, it's wages for performance related, right? Because different people are getting different sum. So you're paying for work done. You work better, I give you more. You work less, I give you less, right? That's why performance-based bonus, where different people get different amount, right? Or whatever name you call it, because we got funny ways. We call it contractual bonus, performance bonus, 13-month bonus, whatever, etc. If all these bonuses or payments made, it's based on work done, right? Different employee got different amount, that has got to be part of your wages. So when you calculate retrenchment benefit, that has got to be part of the calculation, right? So please check out please go and investigate and speak to Labour Department whether your bonus, if you're not giving contractual, okay, contractual is easy, everybody gets the same sum. But if you're giving bonuses where different people get different amount, please get this checked out, whether it is wages or not wages. And how do you calculate termination benefit? So when you go to the regulations 1980 or Sarawak rules on termination or Sabah rules, it's the same. Those employees less than 2 years, you got to give them 10 days wages per year. So if they work for 10 years, then you got to give 10 times 10, 100 days of wages. Those work more than 2 years, but less than 5, it is 15 days wages. And those work more than 5 years, you got to give them 20 days of wages per year. So you need to calculate this, right? So again, what is wages? Whatever that I've mentioned just now, basic salary and payments in cash for work done, all payments in cash, but you don't include traveling allowance, you don't include bonuses, if it's fixed bonus. But you got to include everything else, including overtime, including commissions. So all these got to be included. So then you will know what is the true wages. So again, let me repeat, if you read the termination law of regulation, it says that wages for the purpose of termination benefit follows Section 2, which I shared in the previous slide, right? In order to, you use that to compute the true wages, right? So let me give you an example, maybe before that. So this is the formula to calculate. So what do? You take last 12 months true wages, right? What they've earned, including bonuses if it's a performance-based bonus. So include everything given to them, right? Overtime, commissions, allowances, everything you include, but you do not include a contractual bonus, or you don't include those bonuses given to all employees, which is same amount. Don't include that. Don't include traveling allowances, right? These two items don't include. So whatever they've earned in the last 12 months. So if the company is retrenching today is what? Today is what day is today, Yon? Okay, date. Okay, so today is August 13, right? Let's say your last day is tomorrow. So you got to calculate the salary that this employee, the wages that this employee has earned August 14 last year till August 13 this year, the 12 months prior to termination, right? So what has he earned in this entire 365 days? Everything, but you exclude, bonuses, exclude traveling allowance. So that is what we call as true wages, right? Then you divide 365 days to get 1 day true wage, right? So now you got 1 day wage. Then you look at how many days has he worked? What is the years of service? So a good way to calculate, you take the exact number of days since the day the employee joined until the last day of work. Let's say it's 2,225. So 2,225, you divide 365, you will get something like, 4 point, or whatever the percent, 4.25, right? So that will be the years that he has worked. So now he has worked for 4.25 years, is less than 5 years, therefore we give 15 days per year, right? So you've determined the 1 day wages, you've determined the years of service, and how many days you got to pay, right? You calculate, you will get the termination, termination benefits, right? At the same time, you also got to give them notice period. Either you ask them to work, serve the notice, so that notice period is done, or if you want them to go now, you pay them the notice period, right? And also if there's any annual leave balance, you got to pay them, right? Again, annual leave is not basic salary divide 26, it is wages divide 26, right? Sometimes to keep costs low, we said basic salary, we pay for annual leave calculation, basic salary divide 26. Now, if you go to section 60, right, and you go to the annual leave provision, it says that wages divide 26. What is wages? Wages is basic salary and all payments in cash. So I believe most companies, when you calculate the annual leave, your calculation is not correct. You're calculating based on basic salary, when the law says, when Employment Act, Sarawak and Sabah Labour Ordinance says, wages divide 26. Okay. And lastly, of course, you got to do LSGN clearance before you can release the money to them. Now, this is a small exercise, right? So, So I'm going to give away 2 books. So whoever give, Yun, please stand by. Whoever give me the right answer, the first to give the right answer, the first 2 that appears in our comment box will get this book, right? We'll courier to you. Later part, Yun will ask you for your mailing address. Let us know. We'll send this book to you, right? Good to great. A book that you read will give you ideas how to operate a company, how to run a successful department, how not to waste your time and all that, right? So this is good to great. So now, I'm going to give you an example here. So in this scenario, right, the employee's wages that he has earned in the last 12 months, it's 84,216 ringgit 20 cents, right? And the bonus he earned, this is contractual bonus that he has earned, it's 6,500. And the traveling allowance that was, he was paid to him, traveling allowance, 2,430 ringgit. So the total wages, that means everything that is earned, 84,216. But in this 84,216, what, part of the 200, so listen carefully here. The total money that entered his bank account or was in his salary slip, 84,216.20. In this 84,000, part of it is the bonus and traveling allowance, right? So how do you calculate 1 day true wage, right? So have your calculator next to you with a paper, calculate. Take it as an exercise. Even if you're not interested in the book, take it as an exercise. And from the day he started until today, the total days that he has worked is 4,560 days, right? The total number of days that he has worked. So now, how do you calculate the years of service? You take the total days, you divide 365, you'll get, whatever answer. And then you multiply with the years that is worked. So if you work more than 2 years, then it's 15 days. More than 5 years, 20 days. Less than 2 years, 10 days, right? So I'm going to give you about maybe 2 minutes, right? Maybe a minute plus, it's quite easy. So the one to give me the right answer, the first 2% to give the right answer, you will win this Good to Great book. So I'm going to give you some time to calculate. So if you want to take out your phone or a calculator, please calculate. I'll give you a minute. So it is now, starting now, right? Okay. So, okay, never mind, it's okay. We'll monitor the answer. The one to give the right answer, 2% to give the right answer. The answer is going to be, I have the answer in the next slide. It has got to be the same as mine. Okay. So you won't keep track. So the two answers, the first two that is the same as mine will be the winner of this book. Even if you're not interested in the book, don't worry. Try your luck, just for learning purposes. Okay, so another 20 seconds. It's easy. So you should know what you need to remove from the total wages. Remember, bonus is not included, traveling allowance not included, so you got to remove from total wages. Okay, another 10 seconds. Okay, got it? So now, what is the right answer here? So we know 84,216 ringgit and 20 cents is the total wages. You then need to remove, right, minus out the bonus, which is 6,500, minus out the traveling allowance, which is 2,430. You will get 72,000 ringgit, 72,286.20 cents. Now, then you divide 365, you will get 1 day true wage, 1 day, right? 1 day true wage, which is 198 ringgit and 4 cents. Got it? So that is 1 day true wage. Then the next part is you got to calculate the employment period. So he has worked for 4,560. Then you divide 365, you'll get 12.49. So this employee has worked for 12 years, 0.49 months, right? 12.49 months. So because work more than 5 years, he is entitled to 20 days per year of service. So what is the total termination benefit payable to this employee? Will be 198.04 times 12.49 multiplied by 20. So total payout is 49,470.39 cents. Anybody got the right answer? No one? Okay. So before I show up, nobody got the right answer? Close. Anybody close? Okay. So now remember this, right? Remember this. You must, so let me go back to the previous slide. Sorry, where's the previous slide? Hold on a second. So total wages earned is 84,216.20, right? So 84,216.20, you minus out the 6,005, you minus the allowances. Remember, true wages do not include bonuses, do not include traveling allowance, right? So 84,216, you minus 6,005, you minus 2,430. So let's do this exercise together. So take your calculator, right? Take your calculator. So I'm also doing again, in case I made a mistake. So 84,216.20, then you minus 6,500 because that is a bonus. You minus 2,430 because that is traveling allowance. You will get 75,286.20, right? So if you're following me, your calculator will probably show the same amount, right? Should show the same amount. So, okay, my slide has a mistake. So the answer is 75,286. So I'm so sorry. So my slide, there's an error there. It's 75,286.20. Now that is for the for the, what do you call this, true wages, then you divide 365, you will get 206.26, right? So those of you are correct, good. 206.26. Now, then you multiply by total number of days. So 4560, right? 4560, 206.26, 206. So 4560, you divide by 365, you will get 12.49. I think this probably you all got it right, 12.49. So now, going back to the first just now, 84,216.20, you minus 6500, you minus 2430. So you got 75,286, you divide 365. So remember, 1 day true wage, I'm sorry for the error, I'll rectify these slides before I send it out. So 1 day salary is 206.26, right? Then you multiply by 12.49, then you multiply by 20 days. So anyone gave the answer 51,524.64, Yun? 51,524. Got? Who's that? Only one? 51524. Closest. Anybody give the closest? 51524.64. Okay. So Angel, only one? Okay, who is that? Okay, only one? Okay, so Melissa, your answer is almost there, but not exactly. So the right answer should be 51524.64. So Melissa, please text Yoon your address. We will send you the book. Even though you didn't get the closest, the right answer, but you're quite close. So Melissa, right? Okay, Melissa and Wendy, right? So two of you all, just text your, Yoon will be in touch with you for your address. We'll courier this book to you. So Melissa and Wendy, yeah? Okay, good. So this is how you did. I will rectify these slides before I send it out, but this is how you calculate. Got it? It's not difficult, but the difficult part is not the calculation here. The difficult part is to determine the wages, right? So let me go back to the previous slide. So the difficult part is to determine the wages. What need to be included? What should be taken out? That is the harder part. So once you have already determined the true wages in the last 12 months, the rest is just formulas. Got it? So please, if you're going to carry out retrenchment exercise, please, learn up this so that you don't make mistakes, right? So let me just go back again. So what do we include in true wages? You include everything except traveling allowance and bonuses. But remember, if your bonus is paid based on performance, different employee get different amount, that bonus will be part of wages. So please check that out as well. Okay, so good. Let me move on. Now, these are statutory requirements. So where does EPF, SOCSO, EIS? So these are areas where EPF, SOCSO, EIS is payable, right? I will share these slides with you. And Labor Department requires employees to submit borang PK, right? And this is part of the requirement. So borang PK, you need to submit for retrenchment, for VSS, for MSS, for temporary layoff, or if you're going to do a salary reduction. So this need to be submitted minimum or at least 30 days before your retrenchment. If you fail to do so, if you fail to do so and you're found guilty, right, the fine will be not more than 50,000 ringgit. So please submit borang PK if you are going to carry out a retrenchment exercise. And so again, Labor Department may even ask you to furnish additional document. That depends on the officer, depends on Labor Office. They may say, can you give me this, that, etc., proof of retrenchment bank. So that again depends what the Labor Department wants from you, right? To know more, good to speak to them. In fact, if you're going to carry out retrenchment exercise, go and see them. Tell the Labor Office that you're going to carry out retrenchment exercise. ask for help, ask for guidance, what can I do, and so on. What do I need to do, and so on and so forth. And Borang PK, there are 3 portions to it. Part 1 to Part 4, you need to submit 30 days ahead. So Part 1 is the company detail. Part 2, you need to inform the Labour Department through the form, what are the action that you're going to take. Part 3 is, what is the reasons for this? When is the retrenchment date? Are you paying any termination benefit? And Part 4, what are the things you have done? What are the measures you have taken? Have you done work hour reduction? Have you done, reduce overtime, reduce the working days? So they want to know as well. What are the action taken before retrenchment? So that is Part 1 to Part 4. You need to submit 30 days ahead of time. And once then you carry out retrenchment. So for example, you can see a simple example. The retrenchment date is 31st of July. So at least by the 1st, you got to submit a form. Then after 14 days, right, on 14th of August in this scenario, you got to submit Part 5. Remember, Borang PK, there's Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, Part 5, Part 6. Part 5, you need to submit within 14 days after your retrenchment exercise. What have you paid out? Right? What have you paid out? And then after 30 days, right, or within 30 days, you got to submit Part 5, Part 6, which is, what are the actions taken by the company to help them to secure a new job? So it's not just buang and that's it, So Borang PK requires you to update Labour Department. What are the actions taken, to help these employees to get a new job and so on? Did you do a small recruitment drive? Maybe you help them with something. So they also want to know that. So this is what Borang PK is all about. Now, do I need to submit Borang PK and wait for the permission from Labour Department? This is not an approval process, right? Borang PK is Borang Pemberitahuan. It is a notification form. You notify the Labour Department, that's it. So you submit a form, you continue with the exercise. You do not need to wait for approval. In some scenarios, Labour Department may call you, they may want to ask you for more documents, etc. In some scenarios, they may not even call you, right? So this is Borang Pemberitahuan, notification form. Okay. Now, again, those of you all who, if you took slides of this, please delete it. I will make the changes there. It's 75,000, not 72. I will rectify this and put it into Facebook later part of today. Okay, and let me see. So now I've done the retrenchment. Can an employee come after me? They can, right? Employee can always challenge your termination, your retrenchment, if they find it's unfair. But if the whole company closed down, I don't think they have a case. But if some were released, you terminated some on retrenchment, but not all, the employee can try his luck. I feel it's unfair. Why me? I came in much earlier. Why not that guy? Right? Hey, I'm a local. I'm still here. Why? Sorry, you retrench your local. Why the foreigners are still here and whatnot, etc. So they have all the rights to file a case for unfair termination. If you don't pay termination benefit, they can also go to Labour Department, right? You don't pay termination benefit if they are entitled. Sometimes they may not know, they'll try their luck, right? They thought that, I should be entitled, but they're in the red box. So termination benefit, if the employee feel why he didn't get, calculation is wrong or not given, why annual leave not paid, notice period not paid, etc., they can go to Labour Department, right? And Labour Department, if they check, they inspect, they audit, they verify, and yeah, you got to pay this, then you got to pay. Or if they go to IR department to challenge the entire termination, I feel it's unfair. I don't think the company should terminate me. The company should terminate the other guys first. We're in the same job. Now they can go to IR department, file a case under Section 20, right? That is their right. Now, these are a couple of cases. Just wanted to highlight you some important points, based on some past cases that has gone to the court. Now, in this first scenario, it's a case of Ng Chang Seng versus Technip. Now, what has happened is he worked for 13 years, and he claimed that the redundancy was unfair, right? He feels it's unfair to dismiss him because he says that the company did not follow last in, first out. And the foreign workers are still there. The local was removed, but not the foreigners. Right? And he also says that the retrenchment exercise was done in bad faith. It was not genuine, right? So he challenged the company. And this case went right up to the Court of Appeal. And what the Court of Appeal says, the company, you must be able to prove that the employee was redundant right? His job no more. And he could not be reassigned to any other position or any other project, any other work. Now, you may say that his job is gone, but there's another job that he can do. Why did you not reassign him? Right? Move him to another job. Maybe he required training. Train him. So you must be able to prove that he's genuinely redundant and there's no other job he can do. And the court says this: retrenchment cannot be used as a shortcut to dismiss an employee for other causes. Oh, the guy is not, he's a lousy employee. He's not a good performer. Let's retrench him. You cannot do housekeeping. Don't do cherry picking, right? So retrenchment, you can only do if there's a genuine reason that his job is gone. Then you retrench him. Again, the court will also say what the court says. Last in, first out. If you don't follow, you must justify, right? You must explain to the court why you did not follow last in, first out. You got to justify. And the other one is employer must retrench foreign workers first before you retrench local employees. Foreigners go first, local later, unless there's a reason for you not to do so. Maybe the foreign worker is highly skilled, can repair all the machines, but his colleague in the same job capacity can only repair one type of machine. So I'm going to let go the local and not the foreigner. That reason is, in my view, can be accepted, right? So you need to do this. Last in, first out, foreign workers first out, don't cherry pick, right? Be objective when you select the employees, right? You must be able to prove that the employee's job is no longer there and he cannot be retrained, cannot be redeployed, right? You cannot deploy him to any other role. In another case, the court says this: company cannot use financial difficulties. Oh, we are having financial difficulty and I want to retrench, right? So you must be able to prove that you are having financial difficulty. You are losing money. You're really struggling, right? You're bleeding cash. And you must also be able to present evidence that by you doing this, you have saved, right? There's financial savings. You have achieved some financial saving. And again, the court says this: it may be difficult to justify retrenchment if the business is not loss-making, right? Company is not losing money. We are still profitable, right? And or in a scenario where you have not done any cost-cutting measures or not enough. So two cases I came about. One was an airline and also another organization. They claim that they're losing money, etc. But in the same year, that two companies declared profit. Their financial statement, there's a profit. And they did retrenchment and they said that, oh, financial difficulty, they lost the case, right? So you must be able to prove that you are, in other words, right, you are bleeding, you're losing money, right? But you're profitable, you do retrenchment, then you may have a case to answer. And another scenario, this employee, right, this was Inti International. So she was working for almost 14 years, and the company says redundant, job no more. And the court says that this is not fair, not proper. Why? In this scenario, the employee did not furnish any evidence, and the court also says that employee did not have any intention to offer a form of voluntary retrenchment, right? If really the job is gone, maybe firstly, proof that the job is gone. Second is, what else could you have done? Could you have retrained the employee? Could you have deployed? Is there any other job that this employee can do, right? And because the company was not able to do or prove all this, therefore the employee won her case. Now, there was a question asked prior to this in another scenario, another meeting, another training. Can I redeploy an employee, but the job is a lower grade? Currently, the employee is job grade 5, earning 5,000 ringgit. Now, the job no more. Can I offer this employee a lower job grade, let's say job grade 4, salary 4,000? You can, but you cannot force them. So you can tell the employee, your job is gone, we have another job, the pay is lower, are you willing to accept this job? So if this employee says, no, I don't want. You want me to take up the job, you give me same pay. So for me, even I'm the employer, I will not allow it because it's unfair to the other employees, working their job. So to me, no. But proof that you have tried and the employee don't want to accept, then you retrench. Then I think your case is much better, right? So in other words, right, show that you've done all these things, right? All the boxes tick, tick, tick. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've tried retraining, deploying, etc. In spite of me doing all of this, I'm not able to, I have no choice but to retrench the employee, right? But you got to show proof that you've done all this. But if you have not done all of this, you did not retrain the employee, you did not try to see whether any other options available, you just retrench. Then I think you have got a lousy case. And now this is just a best practices. So 30 days before you retrench, fill up the borang PK, submit to the labor office to notify them, issue a retrenchment letter, and then do your town hall, inform the employees, etc. Then you do your LHDM processes, submit your CP form, and while waiting for clearance, see what can be done with them, for the employees. Maybe do some training. For example, if you got HRDF levy money, that money cannot be used anymore, right? Why not use the money to train them up? Maybe do a program on resume writing, behavioral interview, how to go for interview, resume writing, maybe some skills, financial planning, maybe on AI, right? So that they're trained, easy for them to apply for next job, right? Complete the clearance process, release salary, and done, right? And also tell them that they can also apply for the EIS job search allowance, right? And this is provided all of you are paying for EIS, right? When they lose their job, right, due to retrenchment, for 6 months they're given an allowance while they search for job, right? That is called job search allowance, and this is the amount given. We all know the cap is 6,000, right? First month is 80% of 6,000 or whatever the salary is. If it's lower, then 50%, 40, 40, 30, 30. And who qualifies for this? One of the items you can see, if it's a retrenchment or redundancy, VSS, MSS, closure of company. So all these are employees are entitled for the EIS job search allowance. And so just to let you know, if you are going to carry out retrenchment exercise, Malaysia HR Forum and also the college that that our sister company, we are registered under EIS. So one of the items under EIS is if the employee is retrenched, they can, they will get the job search allowance. Perkeso will also help them to secure a job, and so on. And they can also go for a training that is paid by Perkeso. So we offer these trainings, payroll administration, certificate in HR. There are many more I didn't update, AI, customer service, operation management. So all these programs are provided as well. So if you are retrenching, talk to us so we can come and help you on certain aspects and also train your employees on this program. So we do quite a bit of employee offboarding, retrenchment exercises, help you guys to do calculation, even manage your labor department processes, LHDN processes, help you on your slides for town hall, prepare your letters, guide you on the letters, help you on the day of thing, and then help the employees to offboard them, train them, and all that. So so HR Forum provides end-to-end service on retrenchment, but of course it'll cost you some money as well. Okay, so I'm done with my presentation for today. So before I go into Q&A, one or two advertisements. So we do offer certification programs. So if you're payroll, there's payroll certification, the business partner, IR, TNA. So we do have all of this. The modules you can claim from HRDF, you complete, we'll give you this certification. And masterclass. So those of you all that have been following us, I keep harping, please join the masterclass, please learn up on EA, please learn up on this, please learn up on that. So please join the masterclass. I know many of you all would have joined. So those of you all, if you have not joined the masterclass, we have got the next one coming up in Penang in October. We have in Kota Kinabalu as well. We also have one coming up in PJ, right? So if you're interested, please email Sophie at Malaysia HR Forum, and we will revert back to you. So you learn about how to manage disciplinary process, how to shortcut your processes, how to manage disciplinary. I'm sure you all, if I ask you this, when an employee did not come to work yesterday or last week, typically you call him to HR, issue a show cause letter, give him a couple of days, then you give him a warning letter. This process sometimes can take 3 days, 5 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, right? Let me tell you this, it can be done in half an hour. So why do you take 1 week? Why do you take 2 weeks? Why waste time? Why left, kenapa kerja tergantung? So learn how to do it in 20 minutes to half an hour, right? What methodology? Clearance process. how to complete a clearance process without calculating, doing acknowledgement, issuing an acknowledgement letter, how to avoid all of this, how to manage this in 5 minutes, right? All these techniques, tips is covered in the masterclass, right? How to how to remove bad employees, how to remove poor performers, and many other things, how to remove or how to manage employees with medical conditions. So all of this is covered in the masterclass. When I say masterclass, it is a true masterclass. I know there's a lot of masterclasses running out there, so sometimes I do not know. Now, I would like to tell all of you this. When you select a trainer, right? When you select a trainer, do you select a trainer based on proven capability? They do a lot of write-up, they do webinars, seminars, they do documentation, calculations, etc. Do you choose a trainer based on what they have showcased? Or you just see, wow, this trainer very popular, here and there, very popular, let's go. Please choose your training provider carefully, right? Somebody who writes, who knows what they do, who do talks, right? You can gauge them, right? Not just listen here, there, this paper very popular here, there, etc. And whatnot. Then after you go for the class, you spend 2,000 ringgit, 3,000 ringgit, then you realize many things you don't know. Why? Many things not covered. Now you got to pay another 4,000 ringgit to go for another class. So when you choose, don't choose just because people are popular here and there. They must have the right working experience. So let me tell you, when you choose a trainer, it doesn't matter whether it's for IR or whatever, have you gone and seen whether this person have got a degree in HR, have worked as HR manager, IR manager? Let me tell you this. Some trainers, they have no work experience, but they're doing training in HR. They have no experience in IR. They're doing training in IR. Are you okay? You see a doctor who's not trained in the area, but is giving medicine. A doctor who's checking for cancer, but he's not trained on, he's not an oncologist. Are you safe? Are you dare? Do you dare to go and get a treatment under a doctor who's not, right? So same goes to training. Because I've seen so many people go for training, then they come, join masterclass. So how come you don't know? Oh no, the other trainer didn't cover. That's why my advice to you guys cannot be, you cannot go and choose a training provider where your eyes is closed. When you choose a trainer, please see their credentials. Were they an IR manager? Were they in HR? Are they competent? Do they write? Right? Choose a trainer who write articles. Some trainers don't write articles. So how sure are you they're good? How sure are you they know how to do calculation? EAIR is very technical. Calculation is very technical. Do they know how to calculate this? Do they know how to calculate that? Some trainers, you go to class 2 days, just goreng here, there, etc., finish training. You thought, wow, good. Because you don't know what you don't know. So remember this. Select a trainer carefully, because I've noticed people, they go for training, then they do wrong things, they get in trouble, then they call, too bad. Can't help you already. So please choose a trainer or choose a training provider wisely. Make sure that they have the credibility. They have got the experience, right? No experience in HR, but doing HR training. No experience in IR, doing IR training, right? They don't do any write-ups. Talking is easy. I also can do a video. I learn, okay. Like a parrot. Okay, you know what? Retrenchment, or, you must do show cause letter. Parrot, just listen and repeat. Right? So remember, you must train under a trainer who's proven, who knows what he says or what she says, who has done write-ups, who has done reviews, who's able to analyze the cases, right? Don't just blindly go for training because they're popular. Oh, I see TikTok video here, there, etc. Be careful, be cautious, don't waste money, because your boss will not allow you to go for another training. Your boss will ask you, how are you? Go for training there, you think what, a lot of money here, right? So be careful. And last but not least, if you are having IT jobs, another company under HR Forum, our sister company, we have a job portal called TechStreet. If you have any IT jobs, you can post for free here. Trust me, you'll get CVs, but post for free, and hopefully you can get your candidates. Okay, I'm done for today. So just give me a few seconds or so. Let my colleague here set up the Q&A. So if you have any questions on retrenchment, please share your questions, and we will answer those questions. So again, I would like to repeat, those of you all, please download, when you get these slides, right, please download the retrenchment regulations, the code of conduct, like please download it, please read it, and go through the slides and familiarize with it, right? Learn on the calculation again. And also try to get a copy of this. You can buy it from Popular or you can buy it online, right? It's about 30 ringgit or so. And this book covers all the act as well as the regulations for Peninsular Malaysia. But Code of Conduct is not here. You can download from Malaysia HR Forum Facebook. Okay, so let me just pick up some questions. So this is from Mumamify. So when restructuring or downsizing a particular department, what are the appropriate measures and criteria to determine whether a position has become redundant, or how should the redundancy process be managed fairly and consistently? So you see now, remember this, the guideline, code of conduct, and the court in many scenarios have said that you decide whether the company need to resize yourself, whether you want to outsource a department. That's all your choice. The court will not interfere in this, but please be fair. So how do you determine whether the position redundant? So, there's many ways to look at it. For example, there's an electronic manufacturer in Shah Alam. They have outsourced their entire logistics arm because they feel logistics is very costly, and there are so many third-party service provider. There are third-party, they call it 3PL, third-party logistics provider, and they're good. Cost can be cheap, easy. They manage so the company feels like having a department with 20, 30 people is not worth it. It's not cost effective, difficult, etc. Why not we just outsource the entire department? So what they did, they outsourced the entire department. So once I outsource, I don't need everybody in the department anymore. So that is genuine, right? That is genuine. But before you do that, right? Yes, I don't need these people anymore, right? There's about 30 of them. Now, what can you do? If you have any jobs in the company, offer to the 30 people, saying that, dear employees, this department, effective 1st of September, we have decided to outsource the department. So this department will be redundant. But we do have these jobs available in the company. Anybody interested, you can apply for it, right? If you're qualified, we'll pass it on to you, right? We may also offer you training so that you can do the job, right? So do all this first. Once you've done all of this, maybe 2 employees accepted it. Maybe 5 applied. Out of the 5, you got 2 jobs, you've accepted 2, right? That's it, no other jobs. So that means the other 28 employees, you have to retrench them. So retrench them. So to me, this is genuine. You're not cherry picking, right? This is one. Sometimes what may have happened, the department, it's not about department, but a particular function has been made redundant. So for example, the company has lost a client. The client has closed shop, so I don't need this salesperson anymore because the client closed shop. So even if I keep him, there's no other sales job, right? So therefore, this sales job has become redundant. So these are some areas or some scenarios where the redundancy is genuine, right? So how to manage fairly? As I said just now, if you're going to downsize and you've got people, you need to reduce headcount. So follow last in, first out. Follow foreign workers first out, right? Section 69, foreign workers first out. And when you select them in the same job capacity, right? If you cannot follow, justify. Don't use behavior. Don't use performance. Don't use salary. Focus on skills, competencies, qualification, right? So if you can't follow last in, first out, justify. If you cannot follow foreign workers first out, justify. Okay. So Jane, does that mean that if in the red box we can choose not to pay at all? Yes, now, those in the red box, right, earning above 4, who are not manual labor, who are not supervisors, they don't supervise manual labor. Now, those in the red box, Section 60J of Peninsular Malaysia, the termination regulations, and also in Sabah Sarawak, does not apply to them. So in other words, those in red box, if you're going to retrench them, you have an option of not paying termination benefit, right? Because why? The termination provision doesn't apply to the red box, but the green box, yes. Okay, so Diana, if I understand correctly, employees earning above 4,000 are not entitled for termination benefit. So again, I have to, correct this, Diana, is not above 4,000. Because remember, above 4,000, you got green and red as well. So those who are earning above 4,000, who are not manual labor, those earning above 4,000 who are not supervising manual labor, those earning 4,000 and above who are not managing or operating any mechanically propelled vehicle. So this group, they are in the red box. The red box, they are not entitled to termination benefit. You want to pay, you can, but that provision doesn't apply to them. Okay, so if so, is this considered fair given that all employees are affected by the changes? Regardless of salary, they still have financial commitment. That's why if you look at some companies, right? For example, some of these companies like Panasonic, they pay everybody, right? So I know there are many organizations out there. For them, it doesn't matter whether you're the green box or red box. Everybody gets paid, right? Same amount. So you can do that as well. Some companies in the red box, especially when salaries are high, what they do, they kept the red box at 4,000. So they say, you know what, we want to pay you something. So what we're going to do, we're going to cap your salary at 4,000 or whatever. So it's still better than nothing. But remember, the green box, you cannot cap their salary. Whatever salary they've earned in the last 12 months, excluding their bonus, excluding their allowance, traveling allowance, you got to take the total sum, divide 365. But those in the red box, you may say that I can't pay you so much, but I want to pay you something. So you can also do that. Okay. And it'll be a good practice to pay, but sometimes what has happened, Diana, some companies, not all companies are cash rich, right? Some of the MNCs or GLCs or some of the big Sdn Bhd, they got money, right? So for them, I can pay. But some companies, they are, especially the smaller ones, they have been losing money for years or for months, and the boss got to borrow money to pay salary. So sometimes some companies may not have the capability. They do not have the financial capability to even pay. Even to pay the green box, they are struggling. So what more the red box? So that also could happen, Diana. Okay, Izzati, is meal allowance that they get referred to traveling consider wages or falls under traveling allowance? Meal allowance is part of wages. So remember, if you look at section 2, you go back to section 2, it says that wages means basic salary, basic wages, and all semua payments in cash for work done, kecuali except A, B, C, D, E, F. So whatever that you pay is not A, B, C, D, E, F, it is wages. So meal allowance tidak dikecualikan. It is not in the exclusion of A, B, C, D, E, F. So therefore, meal allowance is wages. Traveling allowance is an exclusion, dikecualikan. So traveling allowance you don't include. So what you need to include? Meal allowance, hardship allowance, transport allowance, right? All these got to be included. Performance allowance, attendance allowance, all this is wages. So Izzati, what you need to do, go to a Facebook group. We have a posting called decoding. That means you code and decode. Decoding the wages definition, right? There's a table that gives you all the explanation. Please go and download it and study it. Okay. Kavishalini, how can we get the book? Which book? Okay, so the red book, you can also go and buy it from Popular. The yellow book, you can buy from Popular, or if you're attending masterclass, we go through this. By the way, in masterclass, right, you can ask those who have attended, we really go through the act, we do reference, interpretation, Beylik here, Beylik there, they've been going through all pages, not all pages, here, there, etc., refer, how to read, how to interpret. Now, remember this, when you go for training, that's why I say I get very frustrated. Why get frustrated? Not because you didn't come to us for training. I get very frustrated when you go for training. Does the training or the training provider, the trainer, do they really go through the act, where to find, why termination benefit, interpret it, do cross-reference, right? Read two provisions together. So when you go back, okay, now I know where to read, how to do. If you go to a training where they don't do all of this, what's the purpose? Right? Why you pay 3,000 or 2,500 where the trainer don't go deep? The class is fun. You're going for entertainment or you're going for learning? If you go for training or because hotel or good hotel, HR forum, in their office, just simple food. But this one hotel, right? Good food, nice food, trainers fun, a lot of fun here, there, etc. Now you're going for fun or you're going for learning, right? So remember, training is not fun, serious work, because when you retrench, it's serious work, right? So please choose a training provider carefully. and a trainer carefully. So what do you mean by 30 days before retrenchment? So Jane, the borang PK, borang pemberitahuan, notifying the labor department, you must submit part 1 to part 4 borang PK 30 days before you retrench. Right? So that is borang PK. So for those of you all, if you want to have a copy of borang PK, go to Facebook, you type the word, you go to the file section, type borang PK, it's also safe downloaded there. Or you can go to Labor Department's website, right? Search for borang PK. So HR forum is easy. Just go and search button, type borang PK. Okay, so Angel, if you want to set the last working day on 31st August, you need to submit to JTK the form by 1st. Yes, at least 30 days ahead. So if 31st is the last day, 30 days ahead means 1st August. You're right. Earlier, even better, but no later than 30 days. That means, in other words, right, 30 days prior to this one, that is the last day. That means at least 30 days before. You want to submit 40 days before, even better. Okay, where 2 departments are merged into one, resulting in duplicate roles and surplus roles, can we MSS terminate? Of course, yes. So now, usually what happens when they combine 2 departments, they collapse 2 departments to one. Sometimes 2 companies merge into one. One company acquire another company, right? Company A buys company B. Then they consolidate. And then they realize, oh, you know what? Our customer service department, we have got so many people. We don't need so many, right? We are going to, reduce number of jobs. And now with AI, we can reduce further, right? We can do chat box, AI agent. Now we're going to reduce further. So now you've got excess people. How do you reduce? So let's say you got 50 people in this department. You only need 30. So now you got 20% excess. So what can you do? The safest way, offer VSS. Okay, you call the employees in this department. You tell them, dear employees, after merger, we have excess headcount. We want to reduce to 30. We're going to offer VSS, 1 month per year of service. So anybody interested, you can apply. So if let's say lot of people apply, you choose your top 20 or the 20 employees, give them the letter, do all your clearance process, done, right? No need to argue because it's voluntary. But let's say now the number of people who applied is not enough. Only 10 people applied. And out of the 10, maybe 8 is okay, 2 you want to keep. So you approve the 8, let the 8 go first. Now the rest not interested. So what do you do? Maybe talk to them one-to-one. Hey, why would you accept a VSS or whatever, right? So talk to them on VSS. If can the same amount, sometimes they may ask you want, I can take, you give me 1.25. I'm not interested in 1 month, right? So you might want to consider, so that you go. But then the other employee who left say, hey, unfair, you give 1.25x. So these are the kind of scenarios we have. So now, do that. But what can you also do? Sometimes, like I said, some employees, once you merge, maybe no OT. When no OT, they say, oh, I cannot survive without OT. They will resign and go. So attrition can help. Sometimes, if they got performance issue, put them on PIP. If they got disciplinary issue, put on disciplinary. That's also one way to, eventually manage them out. So there are multiple ways to manage it, but some processes will take some time. You want it fast, then VSS or MSS, if you want it fast. But if you don't mind taking a slower process, it's okay. I got excess account. I can still manage this group for next 6 months to 1 year. But eventually one will go, people do resign what? All of y'all, I'm sure one day you also resign from your current job, right? You'll go for another company. So same. So attrition will also take place. Maybe you say that, oh, we got so many employees. Last time we need to give OT because we don't have enough headcount. Now we don't need OT. So when you start to only pay basic salary, some people will feel that, oh, I need OT to survive. So they said no OT, right? They'll on their own they resign and go, right? So you can also reduce headcount using the attrition strategy. Okay, in the case of MSS, Lian, only 1 or 2 employees are involved and it involves senior manager. Do we need to inform Labor Department? Answer is yes, because even though Borang PK, if you download a copy, you will not find the word MSS. But what we know, Labor Department says that even for MSS, you got to submit Borang PK. Even if it's 1 employee, you have to submit Borang PK. You might want to get further clarification from Labor Office, Lian. Okay, Mamify. If an employee is still under probation and or has not yet confirmed, can the company terminate instead of MSS on the grounds of redundancy? You see, it doesn't matter whether they are a confirmed staff or they are probationer. It doesn't matter, right? You can retrench both if it's redundant. But termination benefit, right, it's only payable for those who complete 12 months. So the probationer did not meet 12 months, therefore no payment of termination benefit, right? This is provided for in the termination layoff regulations. Okay, let me go to other, Mamify, you got a lot of questions. Let me give chance to other employees. So Simon, any termination must be with just cause. Yes, the law always says this, the law always says this. Just cause means fair, right? Any termination must be with just cause, fair, acceptable. That means there's proper reason, with a good excusable reason. That means the reason is good, acceptable. What are the reasons your company is not going to confirm a probation employee, performance or disciplinary? Okay, this is the probation issue. Now, since I've already started, let me finish it. So now, if the employee is not able to perform, not able to showcase his capability, because you told me that you can do recruitment, I've given you a job, but you can't recruit, or you can, you say that you're a web designer, hired you can't design web, right? During probation period, you struggle, so that I will not confirm you, but please do review. A good practice for probation review is every month. Every month, do a performance review. Every month, right? So 3 months, one review, one review, one review. Now, or if they have committed a major misconduct, you also terminate them. If it's a confirmed staff, you terminate. A probationer also terminate, right? If it's a major misconduct. So you don't have to wait. Performance, you got to wait until probation is, expires. But major misconduct, you do not need to wait for expiry. But if they have got performance issue and also got disciplinary issue, but not good enough for termination, you can, take all this into account and choose not to confirm the employee. You can also do that. Okay. So Anga, I'm a fresh HR, familiar payroll. Now, masterclass is not for youngsters, right? Youngsters, follow this webinar, follow seminar, read this one. Once you got the basic understanding, then you come for the masterclass. But we also got a class on employment law, IR, domestic inquiry. But masterclass come only when you have got good basic, because in the class, very high level, we talk about strategies, we talk about prevention, we talk about calculation, we talk about, very high level things. So if you're very junior, you might not be able to follow. Okay, next. Mimi, yes, we have a class coming up next month in KL, in PJ. Okay, so Scarlett, CP22, same reason, final name should be CP. Okay, I'm not an expert under CP, this tax clearance processes. I'm not very clear. I would encourage you to ask in Facebook group later. But what I know is that once you have already decided to terminate them, submit a CP form. And yes, IRB, sometimes they take 7 to 14 days, etc. See, you can still release them first, right? When you, let's say, firstly, decide your last working day. So if your last working day is going to be 31st of August, right, and you're able to do your quick calculation as early as you can, submit the form as early as you can. Because IRB will take some time, right? 7 to 14 working days. Sometimes they're a bit slow, sometimes they're fast, etc. They'll take some time. So if you can, if your last working day comes first, submit your form. But I would encourage you to do things in advance, right? Do all the calculation in advance. Employee may go first. Clearance may come later, right? It doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, maybe just go up a bit. Yep. So, okay, right. Let me go to Cindy first. Mamify, you got a lot of questions, huh? I probably run private tuition for you. Okay. Do we include payment in lieu of notice and unused annual leave in the last 12 months benefit? Now, remember this. When we talk about termination benefit, you stick to the definition of wages. So section 2 says wages is what? Wages is everything. So you do not include annual leave, you don't include notice. That is separate payment, not part of termination benefit. So for termination benefit payment, stick to wages only, right? Section 2. No, so wages. Annual leave is separate. So there are 4 payments that you got to make when we retrench an employee or when we, do VSS. There are 4 payments. Firstly is the salary for the month. August salary, you still got to pay me, right? Let's say if this is my last month, you got to pay me my August salary. Then you got to pay me my notice period. If you want me to go today, my notice is 2 months, you got to pay me notice, right? 2 months. Then my annual leave. And then finally, if I'm in the green box, the termination benefit. So 4 payments to be made. Let me repeat. Salary for the month, the last month's salary, annual leave, if there's any balance, notice period, if you want me to go now, and termination benefit if I'm in the green box. So these 4 payments are payable. Okay, how should HR handle employees who refuse VSS, MSS? Now, VSS, MSS, remember, is voluntary and mutual. Tak boleh dipaksa. So if employee refuse to accept, you can't do anything, right? So you can't accept. So what some companies will do is this. They will do VSS first, MSS first. They'll try to reduce workers voluntarily. Tak paksa, no force, right? Not forcing them, no paksa, etc. Whoever take. Now, the company usually will have an ideal number. Okay, we want to reduce from 100 to 60 people. I need to let go of 40. So before I do retrenchment, I do VSS first. Okay, employees, whoever want, please come and take, etc. So maybe about 10, 15, 20 will come, but still not enough because you need 40. Now, then you start to identify who you do not need and whether the job is redundant or job is still there. If job is still there, you can't remove them. So that's why you got to prove that the job is redundant. The job no more. So if the job no more, now you retrench them. And then you pick employees based on last in, first out, foreign workers first out. If you cannot follow this, you follow competency, performance, right? Skills, competencies, qualification. So then you do your retrenchment. Okay, so Yip, why is it assumed zero termination benefit for those properly retrenched, earning above 4K? So again, Yip, your statement is not complete. It's not about earning above 4K. Earning above 4K and they are not manual labor. Earning above 4K and they are not supervisors to a manual labor. So this group, they're in the green box. So green box, you do not need to pay. So why do MNCs still pay sizable amount? Well, you see, like I said earlier on, some MNCs, they have got money, right? And they want to be fair to all. They want to, they want to protect their reputation, right? They got money to pay. They want to ensure that employees, when they leave in good faith. They want to show they care. They're concerned on their next steps because to secure a job may not be easy. So they pay everybody. So if you have been working for 25 years and they give, let's say, 1 month per year, the guy will get 25 months, right? The operator work for 5 years, they'll give 5 months. For example, if it's 1 month, some MNCs, they give 1.25, some gives 1.5, some gives 2.0, some gives 1.75. That is very much up to the company, right? Some MNCs, they got money, they want to give, they want to be a good employer, it's up to them. Some MNCs or some smaller companies, they may not have that kind of money. They may give very minimum, maybe 1 month. Some will just pay 10, 15, 20 days. So that depends on company, right? Of course, as an employee, I'm sure if me, we all want the max, right? We want as much as we can. Securing a job in 3, 4, 5 months, sometimes is not easy. Some people can take longer than that. Some people, they're fast. Easy job, or maybe they're really good, they got good connection, they can get fast. Some people will take some time. Okay, so we know if we want to proceed with redundancy due to our outlets are not needing employees. So outlets, okay, reduction, not performing, clearly seen that employees were removed, not able to save costs. And we also have outlets all over Malaysia. Now see, borang PK follow your district. For example, firstly, when you set up your company in a particular area, your branch in a particular area, every district has a labor office. So when you set up your outlet in Bangi has got a labor office. You got another outlet in Kajang, you got a labor office. Or I can't recall whether Kajang or the district there. You set up in Melaka got a labor office. You got one outlet in Johor got a labor office. And they fall under Johor Bahru jurisdiction. Employees in Melaka falls under Melaka office. Employees in Seremban under Seremban jurisdiction. So when you want to retrench workers in Seremban, you submit borang PK to Seremban. You want to submit in Johor, you submit borang PK in Johor, right? Not HQ. Okay, Hana, if a company downsizes due to redundancy, is there a specific period the company need to wait for rehiring? Now, again, if you read all these best practices, right? It is advisable, it is suggested, it is encouraged, highly encouraged. When you want to rehire, offer to the employees who are retrenched first, right? Is it a must? I don't think so. There's no law that says that you must rehire them But good practices, now, when you let go somebody because business no good, right? Business no good, you let go. Now, business now, suddenly the client come back. You know, you lost a big client, you lost a few clients, and, because of whatever happening in Iran, the Middle East, right? Client says, oh, sorry, we're not going to give you any more business. Now, suddenly you realize that your business is out. So you need to retrench. But 2 months later or 3 months later, the client come back to you, hey, you know what? Things are okay now. The ships can pass through Hormuz Island, Hormuz Strait. Now everything is okay. I want to, can you start to produce my part? Can you produce for me? Oh, I got no enough workers. So it is advisable, it is highly encouraged to call back your employees. But now, the reason why companies don't want to call them back, some of them, because they are not good. So that means, why did you keep them so long, right? I'm sure if you let go good employees, I'm sure you'll call them back. But you don't want to call all because some are good, some are not good, right? So it is advisable, it is encouraged to call them back, right? So some of you all may say that, they got 60 days to file a case. After 60 days is better. Well, I mean, yes and no. Yes, after 60 days, they can't file a case, that's for sure. In IR, they can't file a case. But again, I would say it's really up to you. Okay, how long does a retrenched worker have to file a claim? 60 days in IR department. Okay, Patrick, if retrenchment becomes inevitable, cannot be avoided, the staff member is offered an alternative position in another subsidiary. However, the subsidiary is located in an outlying area. It is inconvenient. The company offers him additional allowance and additional traveling allowance to return home once a month. The staff member refused, subsequently retrenched. Go down a bit. Would the staff member have a higher chance of succeeding if he lodged? Now, you see, again, let's talk about insubordination. Insubordination means an employee, if the order, instruction given by a company is lawful and reasonable, right? If you read any insubordination cases, the court always says this: any lawful and reasonable orders of the company must be followed, including transfer, right? Company has the right to transfer an employee, but the court will examine, was the transfer reasonable, right? Was it reasonable? Now, when you move an employee to another subsidiary, was it reasonable for him to go all the way there? Have you done have you seen whether it'll affect him, right? So if, let's say, the transfer is lawful and he's got to go, then he's got to go, right? He cannot now say that, oh, sorry, I don't want to go, right? That is insubordination. But again, what I would examine is, is this a lawful? Yes. But is this a reasonable order for him to get transferred? So I would rather say, Patrick, zoom in on that first. If you're able to prove that this is reasonable, I've got a job there, I want him to go there, and he's got to go. So if he refuses to go, then he loses out. But ensure that it's reasonable. Like I recall one case, a company asked a female employee who's pregnant to transfer. She says, I'm pregnant, right? I've got a family to take care. I'm the only one. I got a child. I cannot go alone. I'm pregnant, etc. The company still insisted. And, they terminated because she said, you don't follow, I terminate. And she won the case, right? So please, also pay attention to, all these factors that I've just mentioned. Okay. If a company implements an ERP system that automates work processes, as a result, some jobs become redundant, manpower reduction, certain duties previously can now be automated. Yes. So, Scarlett, as I mentioned just now, if you read cases, court awards, judgments, right? All this says that company, if you want to reorganize your business, it's up to you. That is your right. If you want to reorganize, but do it well, do it properly, do it fairly, do it transparently. So in this case, company has automation. A lot of company do automation. I don't need so many workers, right? Now I got excess workers. That can be a basis for redundancy, but do it carefully, because if this employee will challenge you, you must be able to prove that the job is, redundant. The court will ask you, or you need to also prove, what have you done to avoid this? Is there any other position in a company that this person could have done? Could you have retrained this person to take up another job? So all the options is not there. You have explored all options, but not able to find one. So you can't do anything else except to retrench this person, right? So if they're in the green box, pay them the retrenchment benefit. If they're in the red box, then you of course, I'm not saying don't pay, but the law does not mandate you to pay. So offer them VSS, right? If still cannot, you still have headcount. Sometimes people may go on their own, they resign and go, there's a better offer. So there's many ways to look at it. So question is, how long can you wait, Scarlett? Right? That's something for you to consider. So, but yes, to answer your question, yes, this also could be a basis where automation takes place. You don't need that many employees, or you've done your employee mapping, you realize that, oh, you have more employees. You don't need that many, right? But again, the question is how to prove that the job is redundant. It's not about you having excess headcount. How do you prove that the job is redundant? So excess headcount, one of the best method is VSS or MSS. Okay, are you retrenchment date 31st October, payment in lieu of notice 2 months as mutually agreed. Last physical working day 31st August to prorate employees' annual entitlement should be prorate up to their legal employment date. So the legal employment date is going to be 31st of what is the retrenchment date, payment in lieu of notice. So based on so your calculation has got to be up to 31st of October 2026 because that is their actual legal last date, not the retrenchment date. Because retrenchment date, you're bringing it forward, right? So the legal last day is going to be 31st of October. Next. VSS, MSS. See, MSS is normally discrete. So Paywun, VSS normally you offer to all. You can't just say, okay, only this employee boleh ya, lain tak boleh, cannot. You offer to all. But MSS, you don't openly say. You don't say, okay, employees, we got MSS. No, what you do, you privately, individually talk to an employee. Hey, you know what, Paywun, your job is redundant. We may not need your job. Are you open to discuss MSS? So that MSS, you talk one-to-one. VSS, you make an announcement. Okay? So exactly, yes, Simon, you're right. VSS is for all employees. You make an official announcement. MSS is only for selected one-to-one, right? Yes, Simon, you're right. Okay, Janatul Masterclass, you can contact Firhana. Okay. Okay. So again, yeah, let me reply Simon's statement. Employees must submit Form CP22 to IR department at least 30 days before employees expected cessation. Yes, but sometimes, Simon, the employer do not have the 30 days, right? It happens. Sometimes the decision made in a quick manner, like especially VSS. MSS, yes, you have all the time to do it because MSS company knows ahead. Okay, you know what? We are not doing well. Eventually, we got to terminate. But sometimes VSS happens in a very short notice, right? There are situations that, especially like MSS, you may not have the 30 days. But again, whether you have enough or not enough 30 days, you still have to submit your clearance. Okay, company won't go for VSS, they prefer MSS. And happen that the worker is not in favor of the program, but the employer already have a list. Is it? Now, you see, again, Farah, whether it's VSS or MSS, you cannot force the worker. So if the worker do not want to accept the package, you can't force them out. If the worker say, I turn up, I don't want MSS, I don't want VSS, you can't force them, right? There's nothing much you can do. Even you say prayer, also nothing will happen. Okay, so remember this, retrenchment, the business closure, job redundancy, department closure, all this you don't need to ask employee because the job is gone. I don't need to ask you. But if the job is still there, right, and you ask the employee, hey, do you want to accept? They don't accept, you can't do anything, Farah. So you want to accept, like I said, employees will not accept. But how to make employee accept? Anybody can answer me this? How to make an employee accept VSS, MSS? You offer them, they don't want. But how to make them take it up? Put a knife behind them. Hey, you ambil ya, kalau tak, I cucuk. Right? No, right? But if you up your VSS amount, hey, employees, company VSS, 2 months per year service, I tell you, many will come. It's still not attractive. 3 months per year service. I think everybody will take the offer. But then again, can you afford 3 months? If your package is super, super sweet, I'm sure they'll take. But when you offer a lousy package, nobody will take. Right, Farah? End of the day, money talks. Okay, can you advise the type of retrenchment letter that should be issued to staff? Should we issue separate letter explaining company currents? No, you can do all in one letter. There's no hard and fast rule, Christy. You can do all in one letter. But typically what happens is, usually, I mean, if you ask me what is the right process, when the company decides to do retrenchment, they will announce to employee either through a town hall. They call all employees to their meeting room or if they got a hall, they make a formal announcement. Sometimes they issue a memo or an email. So in that memo email, you have already mentioned. In the retrenchment letter, you don't need to mention again, right? Because they already know. Unless you suddenly out of the blue, tomorrow, your last day, which again, I would not encourage, right? Employees would already know ahead of time that a business not doing well, company is going to retrench. So in the retrenchment letter, you can just put a simple statement, as per announced in a town hall, the company is carrying out retrenchment exercise, and therefore your last day is this, etc. So you don't need to go and explain all over again in the letter. That's why follow a step-by-step process. A good practice would be announce to the employee, run a town hall, explain to them, answer their questions or their concerns. When you announce VSS, retrenchment, people are anxious. I'm going to lose my job, right? Call them in, talk to them, explain to them why, and tell them what are the things you have done to avoid retrenchment, but you've tried, still cannot. Now you have no other choice but to do it. And explain to them, they may ask you a question. So how are we? Do we get money? So during the town hall, say, yes, we're going to offer VSS. We hope that as many of you all will take it. We're going to offer 1 month. So do all that. So transparency is very important, right? When you do hush-hush, people don't trust you, right? When you do transparent, you show you are genuine, you show it, you talk to them, etc. People know that company is genuine. But when you hush-hush, they know that company mesti ada tipu muslihat. Okay, if employee have disciplinary issues, performance issues, company wants a fast way out. Yeah, I always say this, MSS, right, is the fastest way, the cheapest way, the safest way to terminate an employee. Why I said MSS is fastest? Because why? I can discuss with you today, you can go tomorrow. Of course, you got to do all the clearance and all that. It's fast. 1-2 days or maybe a week or two is done. Fast. Retrenchment takes some time. So MSS is fast. You want to put them to performance, PIP, 3 months and so on or more. You want to put them to disciplinary, also you got to take progressive action. So MSS, I can discuss with you today. We both agree. We can agree next week is the last, do clearance, done. So it's fast. Why is it safe? Because if you and I agree, we negotiate, we come to an agreement, we sign an agreement, you cannot file a case and say, I force you, because we negotiated. There are people who try their luck, but the court says you negotiated. There's no element of force. So, no case. And why is it cheap? Because, sometimes when you keep employee for 1, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you don't know what to do. You keep, you end up paying so much of money, and you go put them through, you simply terminate them. They file a case, they'll get 24 months plus. But when you negotiate, if you work for 10 years, he'll probably ask you for 15 months. So it's cheaper to pay 15 months than paying 24 months plus, right? So MSS is the safest way, the fastest way, the cheapest way. Got it? Okay. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Simon, thanks a lot for clarifying. Yeah, I know you're trying to help, yes. Okay. So let me see if any others go down. Some other go down. Yeah, I agree with Simon as well. MSS is the fastest way, the cheapest way, the safest way. Okay, yeah, let me answer this. Maybe I'll pick this, the last one. It's already 5:05. So we have got 2 production premises. Both premises need to retrench. We need to retrench 5% in each premise. Since both under production department, last in, first out, apply premise overall. Well, this is very interesting. I don't think there's any cases or what that gives you guidance, which one should you terminate, etc. Now, if they are under the same company, right? Same company, not different Sdn Bhd, because if it's two different Sdn Bhd, it's 2 different company, right? Same company, same job category, I will consider them as one. So here you decide last in, first out. But if 2 different company, then I don't think it's 2 different company, 2 different exercise. Okay. I think next. Okay. Any others? I know there's a lot of questions, but I don't think I'll be able to answer all. Okay, next. Okay, so yeah. Okay, thanks a lot. Simon, thanks also for helping to answer some of the questions. So thanks a lot for joining us. Simon, can you also share your address with what do you call this, Yon? I'll send you a copy of this, Simon, as well. If you have one, if you don't have one, I'll send you one. So Simon, please give your address also to Yon for helping me to answer some of the questions. So one book for you as well, Simon. Okay, so I think that's all for today. So I'll update the calculation just now. There's some small error. I'll update it. I'll share it in Facebook group so you can download it in a short while. And thanks a lot for joining us today. So I hope you've got some idea on retrenchment exercises, how to go about it, and so on. Thank you for joining. So this webinar will be recorded. Facebook will keep it for 30 days. After that, it will be removed. But you can still watch it in YouTube, right? So that's all. And hope to see you guys in our conference in September. It's free. Or you want to come as a paid delegate, it's up to you. Or you can join the free version, September 22nd, 23rd. Please join the masterclass, right? As I said, please select the right doctor. Please select the right trainer, right? Make sure the trainer is proven, writes document, writes article, analyzes cases, right? Not just go fun, etc. And then you go there, you don't learn much. The problem is we don't know what we don't know. We go there, we think, oh, the trainer go here, there, etc. Goreng, so we don't know, right? Oh, yeah, etc. Then you realize when you come back to work, you realize a lot of things you still don't know. Then you start asking here, there, WhatsApp, Facebook, how are this, there, etc. That's why I get annoyed. Go training but don't know, right? Don't waste your money. And your boss will not send you for first training, second training, third training. Select the right trainer. I pity all of you all if you do it. If you just for fun go in here, there, because makan is good, trainer very popular, see in YouTube video here, there, etc. Right? So for me, please select the right trainer. If you select a wrong trainer, I just pity you guys. Okay, so thanks a lot for joining us. So for just now, Wendy, and who's there? Melissa, Wendy, I hope you have given your address to Yon. Simon, I hope you have given your address to Yon. So congratulations to Melissa and Wendy. Simon, thanks a lot for helping me out. So thanks a lot. Hope to see you again in our next webinar. So I'll save the slides in Facebook group in a very short while. Thank you.
What happens when the brightest minds in human resources gather under one roof? Barriers disappear, conversations become collaborations, and the future of work begins to take shape. This is Malaysia HR Tech and Innovation Conference and Expo 2026.